Welcome to another deep dive on the Explainer. There's a fundamental shift happening right now in how digital content reaches us. Here's the bottom line. The internet, as it was originally built, just wasn't designed for what's coming. But AI CDN absolutely is. Today, we're going to explore how our basic infrastructure is evolving from a system that just passively delivers static files into this adaptive, living experience layer that learns, reacts, and accelerates literally every single interaction. Okay, let's dive right into this. To get there, we'll follow a pretty clear evolutionary roadmap for today's explainer. First, we'll look at the legacy delivery crisis. Then, break down the ACDN experience stack. From there, we'll check out the massive ICDN feature arsenal and wrap up with Meet Inc., which is really the flexible future of all this. All right, kicking things off with Section 1, the legacy delivery crisis, or when the internet breaks. So, to truly understand this paradigm shift, we have to grasp the sheer scale we're dealing with. National scale live events, they're the new normal now. Platforms literally have to be architected for concurrent viewer peaks in the millions as a baseline, not just as some rare exception. And the market data backs this up with absolute urgency. Live streaming revenue is projected to explode from a 2024 baseline of about $135.7 billion all the way to an unbelievable $1.2 trillion by 2033. That is a massive 27.8% compound annual growth rate. Live streaming isn't just a nice add-on anymore. It's the absolute cornerstone of digital entertainment, and this wild growth is forcing everyone to completely rethink delivery capacity. And in this new experience economy, your quality of experience, or QoE, is quite literally everything. We as consumers, we have absolutely zero tolerance for slow startup times, annoying latency, or pixelated video. None. Because churn is a single click away. QoE is the absolute primary differentiator now. But hey, it's not just about speed. You've got piracy actively draining network capacity and inflating costs because pirates are getting smart. They're exploiting legitimate delivery paths. On top of that, modern audiences don't want to just sit there and watch passively. We want live statistics, we want real-time gamification, and honestly, traditional delivery models completely struggle to handle all of that at scale. Which makes a pretty undeniable case for a totally new architecture. If you look at traditional CDN architecture, it relies on centralized origin servers, caching static content at fixed points, with really simple rigid algorithms. It is highly prone to latency and massive bottlenecks under heavy load. Basically, think of them as passive, dumb pipes. Contrast that with modern AI CDN architecture. This model completely flips the script. It moves both the content and the computation much closer to the end user. It uses distributed, hybrid, and multi-CDN strategies, massively leaning into edge computing for dynamic content and basically infinite scalability. Which brings us nicely to Section 2, the AI CDN experience stack, rebuilding from the edge. To actually solve this delivery crisis, we have to move away from passive delivery and build a reactive ecosystem. We're talking about a fundamental rebuild of the internet's delivery infrastructure into a three-layer architecture. Layer 1 is your architectural foundation. That's your edge-first multi-CDN setup that gives you the sheer scale and resilience to handle literally any audience size. Stacked right on top of that is Layer 2, the intelligence layer. This is where AI and machine learning step in to predict and proactively optimize the stream, protecting content and keeping performance absolutely flawless. And finally, Layer 3 is the application layer. This is where the magic actually happens for the user. This is what enables those interactive, highly memorable experiences that drive real brand loyalty. So the real takeaway here is captured perfectly in this quote from our source material. Investing in the experience stack isn't about managing costs, it's about building the platform for future growth. You really have to make that mindset shift. You aren't just trying to save a few bucks on bandwidth anymore, you're transforming your infrastructure into a self-funding growth machine. Moving right along to Section 3, Massive ICDN Feature Arsenal, the Interactivity Toolkit. So how do we actually populate that top application layer? Well, we use the ICDN platform by Netstairs. This brings literally decades of expertise straight into modern interaction, and the sheer scale of this toolkit is honestly staggering. For immersive tech, it supports everything from simple 3D placement all the way to full metaverse integration across Linden Lab, Unreal Engine, WebGL, and Unity. For security, you get a completely trusted, biometrically secured environment. We're talking facial biometrics tied to official databases, advanced electronic signatures, two-factor auth, and Auth0 integration. And for core interactivity, it's fully WebRTC compliant, fully supporting Node.js and WebSocket.io. It is deeply prepared for secure, real-time collaboration. And to make all those abstract features a bit more tangible, this right here is what it actually looks like in practice. This immersive 3D showroom interface is what they call box rooms, or venue-style digital media rooms. Users can actually watch ultra-low latency streams at the exact same time as their friends, creating a truly shared social experience. It seamlessly integrates native video calling, plus the ability to drop in and share documents, resources, and work tools directly inside that 3D space. It's a game changer. But looking at this incredibly advanced toolkit definitely brings up a critical question, especially for enterprise architects. As technology continues to evolve at breakneck speed, how on earth do we future-proof this infrastructure? How do we make sure we don't just get locked into today's standard?
Well, that takes us to Section 4, Meet Inc., the flexible future.
That question of future-proofing leads us right to the agile conclusion of this whole evolutionary arc. Based on everything they learned building Aicdn and Zim, the developers realized they had to push the boundaries of flexibility even further. So enter Meet Inc. What is it? It's a platform integrating data cleanrooms, but its real superpower is that it is entirely codec agnostic. The whole goal here is to completely remove your dependency on any single supplier. So as new video codecs and crazy new technologies inevitably evolve, Meet Inc. can seamlessly support them without forcing you into a massive, painful infrastructure teardown. It completely untethers architects from rigid legacy constraints. And this agility is deeply focused on the actual client experience. For instance, setting up rooms is incredibly intuitive. Because of the interoperability of sidebars and headers, you can literally just copy and edit layouts from one room straight into another. Plus, it features dynamic connection scaling. So let's say your room allocation is set for 60 minutes with 8 connections. Well, you can dynamically trade that out to support 60 connections instead, giving you incredible on-the-fly flexibility based on your actual audience size. And finally, they totally swapped out all that complex HTML coding for a super simple widget-based UI. You literally just add and edit widgets from a list to customize the room. It is beautifully simple. And here is the hard return on investment for building this entire experience stack. The shift to interactive content isn't just a cool gimmick, it is a strategic imperative. When you give audiences gamified features, live stats, and collaborative tools, the data shows a 25 to 50% increase in total minutes watched. I mean, that is massive. Furthermore, a staggering 50 to 80% of audiences will actively engage with those interactive elements during live events. So to summarize our explainer today, this journey from those old traditional CDNs all the way to the Aicdn experience stack, armed with Aicdn features and made totally flexible by Meet Inc., it represents a complete paradigm shift. It is the evolution from passive delivery to active creation. Networks are no longer just serving up experiences, they are actively helping to create them. I want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on as we wrap things up today. Take a hard look at your own digital strategy and ask yourself, is your infrastructure just a passive pipe delivering content, or is it an active experience stack driving true engagement? The technology is absolutely out there to completely rebuild your relationship with your audience. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning how things work.